Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Brave plan for the Miami Heat to create a Big Four in a mock trade with the Chicago Bulls. The Miami Heat are hoping to remain competitive in the Eastern Conference, despite the team remaining mostly unchanged this offseason outside the addition of veteran Alec Burks. Given the team was in the play-in tournament last season and how teams around them like the Philadelphia 76ers and New York Knicks have made major moves, the Heat could be in trouble ahead of the 2024-25 NBA season. The Chicago Bulls are also hoping to be a competitive team this season, but the team has been severely weakened by the departures of DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso this offseason. Their competitive goals can be met if they avoid intentionally tanking, but that won't change the fact the team has reportedly been shopping Zach LaVine to an empty trade market since last winter. With the Heat's need to add a major piece to improve their winning hopes and the Bulls needing to move on from LaVine after contentious seasons with the franchise, the two teams could agree on the perfect offseason trade. Trade details: Miami Heat receive, Zach LaVine. Chicago Bulls receive, Terry Rozier, Duncan Robinson, 2026 second-round pick, LAL. This is great value for the Heat, who can continue relying on Tyler Herro as the team's primary guard ball handler, with LaVine scoring fixing the team's offensive woes from the last two seasons. With Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo still on the team, the Heat would construct a dangerous Big Four that could challenge top teams in the East under Eric Spoelstra's coaching. The Heat are not a team that'd be willing to tank and hope for a high lottery pick to solve their competitive issues. Bam Adebayo is in his prime, while Herro is inching closer to being a complete player after incremental improvements in recent seasons. With the possibility of Jimmy Butler leaving the franchise for nothing next offseason, the Heat are incentivized to go all in this season and acquire a player of LaVine's caliber. LaVine dealt with injuries for most of the 2023-24 season, averaging just 19.5 points, 5.2 rebounds, and 3.9 assists while being disgruntled on the franchise. The season prior, LaVine was healthy for most of the season and averaged 24.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 4.2 assists, showing how lethal he can be as an offensive player. With Butler not being able to manage the offensive load the team needs him to during the regular season, adding LaVine to a dynamic backcourt with Herro would unlock new potential for the Heat. This deal would reinvigorate the Heat's offense. There will be defensive concerns, with an excessive workload on that front for Adebayo and Butler, but LaVine showed flashes of a strong defense in the past when the Bulls looked competitive. The vaunted Heat culture could bring the best out of LaVine, while also providing the team with future insurance if Butler ends up leaving. Why Miami Heat did not make Julius Randle trade despite talks. The New York Knicks shook up the landscape of the NBA with a three-team trade that saw them acquire Karl-Anthony Towns, while Dante DiVincenzo and Julius Randle moved to the Minnesota Timberwolves. If the Knicks were not championship contenders already, they definitely are now. On the other hand, the Timberwolves received a couple of win-now players while getting Towns' contract off their books. The Charlotte Hornets were the third team involved in the deal. As it turns out, the Miami Heat were one of the teams that the Knicks had talked to about regarding a Randle trade. Detroit, Atlanta, Miami among the other teams NYK talked to about trades of Julius Randle, per SNY sources. Min slashes its future payroll by acquiring Randle, who can be an FA this summer. Knicks get big man they've long had on radar in Karl Towns. So, it is time to add Randle's name to the list of high-profile players who the Heat were not able to bring to South Beach. Earlier in the summer, they were one of the front-runners to sign DeMar DeRozan before he joined the Sacramento Kings. In the case of Randle, the Heat might have been right not to make a trade happen though. As Daniel Riccio wrote on All You Can Heat, Pat Riley is not one to settle or force any trade just to make one, and Randle's game may not have fit the timeline. His ball-dominant usage on the offensive end would have taken opportunity away from their core. Randall doesn't possess the strongest postseason reputation, which wouldn't have been ideal for a proven playoff team. He is coming off a season where he only appeared in 46 games due to season-ending shoulder surgery. Most importantly, the Heat would have had to offload a package of proven players and young promising ones. With the team's run-it-back mentality, Randall isn't the type of name to risk breaking up a group that has built cohesion and chemistry to facilitate a trade. At the moment, the Heat look prepared to run it back with the roster that they have, and it is not hard to understand why. Butler's future is up in the air. If he were to leave next summer by opting out of his player option, the Heat would still have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Herro, and youngsters like Nikola Jovic and Jamie Jaquez Jr. That is still a decent unit. Now, it would make sense for the Heat to eye a different direction if a player like Kevin Durant or Donovan Mitchell was available. But Randall just is not the type of talent who would significantly boost their championship chance. Miami Heat linked to newly moved All-Star in rumored blockbuster trade. The Miami Heat's front office reportedly picked up the phone earlier in the offseason with interest in All-Star big man Julius Randle. Just because Randle was dealt to the Minnesota Timberwolves in late September does not mean another move is out of the equation. The 29-year-old poses serious concerns to the Wolves' offense, including his ball dominance, and he is not an elite spacing forward like Karl-Anthony Towns. Randall knocked down 31.1% of his three-pointers last season compared to Towns' 41.6%. Bleacher Report believes the Heat could revisit discussions surrounding Randall if Minnesota is interested in trading him. The trade proposal sends Randall to the Heat in exchange for Nikola Jovic, Terry Rozier, and Thomas Bryant. Randall is pretty clearly the best individual player in this deal, B/R's Andy Bailey wrote. For that reason, you might be able to talk Miami into including some draft compensation, too. But Nikola Jovic checks the box for a young prospect while being able to start alongside Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert right now. The Timberwolves are focused on prolonging their championship window with Edwards at the helm. Jovic accomplishes just that at age 21. He proved himself as a valuable piece of the Heat's rotation last year, meaning it could take some persuading for team president Pat Riley to part ways with him. Adding Randall to the Heat's big three of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Herro would place any postseason opponent on upset alert. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Julius Randle? Leave your opinion in the comments.